proceed to the exchange counter outside the venue and present your ID to borrow one. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, today's conference offers simultaneous interpretation services in both Chinese and English. If you require an interpretation device, please proceed to the exchange counter outside the venue and present your ID to borrow one. Good morning, my friends. The 2024 Global Youth Trans Forum will start in 5 minutes. Please take your seats, and we would like to remind you to turn off or silence your cell phone. Thank you for your patience. Today's conference offers full simultaneous interpretation in Chinese and English. Please select Channel 1 for Chinese and Channel 2 for English. If you require an interpretation device, please proceed to the exchange counter outside the venue and present your ID to borrow one. minutes, we are going to start the agenda. So take your seats and let's wait for others to come into this area, and you can have a little chat with your neighbors. And also, as a reminder, we would like to remind you to turn off your cell phone or put it on a silent, please. From around the world! Let me hear your voice. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all of you to 2024 Global Youth Transforum. I am Braid. The similar pronunciation is brave. I'm your host for this session, and I'm looking forward to have some little ice breaking with all of you. So grateful to have all of you here from around the world. It's truly a rare and exciting opportunity to gather together like this. Before we dive into today's forum agenda, let's break the ice with a little game to get to know each other. Has anyone here heard of Japanese anime called Pokemon? Pokemon. Any friends from Japan? Show me your hand. Raise your hand. Pokemon. So we're going to do some ice breaking. It's kind of Pokemon twist, but it's not hunting for Pikachu. We are hunting for people later. So what's the clues that we have to follow? Do you get a card on the table? It's called Cultural Detective Hunt card. Show me your card, please. Raise it up. Yeah. We have a sheet and a card, right? So the clues is on the sheet, and you. And thank you everyone who shared. We hope today's activity helped you to get to know each other better and enjoy the fun of cross-cultural exchange. And up next, we will move on the next section of our forum. Get ready for exciting content. Thank you so much. Thank you. See you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Braid. And good morning and hello everyone. I'm Catherine. Nice to see you.
Hi everybody, and I'm Howard. Good morning everybody.
I'm very thrilled to be here with all of you again at the 2024 Global Youth Trends Forum. Howard and I had the privilege and honor of hosting this forum last year and the year from the previous years, so many years, and every year. I'm truly impressed by the energy that each of you brings.
Exactly. And every November, I really look forward to this forum. The creativity of the young leaders and the youth leaders is always something to look forward to. It's even more exciting to have so many distinguished guests and delegations to join us today. So now let's introduce this year's delegations and honored guests.
Okay, so we'd like to invite our distinguished guests and different delegations to stand up and give everyone a wave, all right? So thank you for our all distinguished guests for being here with us and offering your guidance.
Yes.
So we're also very honored to have so many international delegations who have traveled a long way to be with us. But first, let's introduce our distinguished guests.
Yes. I'm checking if our guests are with us. Yes, they are.
Okay.
So, all right. So when we announce your name, would you please stand up and wave to everybody? All right. So first of all, let's welcome from the Ministry of Education, Deputy Minister Ye Bingchen. Professor Ye.
And then introduce Youth Development Administration, Ministry of Education, Director General Chen Xueyu.
Youth Development Administration, Ministry of Education, Deputy Director General Chen Yicong.
And also welcome Embassy of the Republic of Paraguay, Ambassador Carlos Rodriguez.
National Youth Secretary of Paraguay, Minister Selma Clara Jasmine Aguero Caparedo.
And also introduce Development of Sports of St. Lucia, Director Lavon Verdun Dizzy.
The Department of NGO International Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Director General Andy Chen Yigang.
Welcome SIW International Volunteer Projects Organization, President Sun Wilms.
International Cooperation and Development Fund, Deputy Secretary General Stephen Lee.
Welcome Step 30 International Ministries founder Yang Youren. Welcome. And again, we're also very honored to have many international delegations here with us who have traveled all along the way to here to be with us. So a warm welcome to all of you.
Yes, we have delegations from Paraguay. Please stand.
Where are you guys? Please stand up.
Yeah, where's Paraguay?
Are you guys here? All right, let's move on.
All right.
Welcome delegation from St. Lucia. Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Yay. Delegation from Israel.
Welcome delegation from Germany. Woo!
Welcome delegation from Indonesia.
Delegation from Japan.
Delegation from Malaysia.
Delegation from Philippines.
Let's welcome the delegation from South Africa.
Welcome delegation from Sweden.
Welcome the delegation from Thailand.
Delegation from the United States.
And the delegation from Vietnam. And of course, the most enthusiastic group here has to be our young participants from all corners of Taiwan. And let me hear your cheer.
Woohoo! And let's not forget our dedicated youth ambassadors who play such a vital role. Ambassadors, please stand up and let's all give them a big round of applause.
Yes.
All ambassadors,
Youth ambassadors.
Thank you.
Everyone, please be seated. And now, please join me in warmly welcoming Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Ye Bin-chen, to the stage to share a few words with us. Welcome, Deputy Minister.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Greetings to the Director General, Andy Chen, from the Department of NGO International Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and also to Carlos Jose Rodriguez, the Ambassador of the Embassy of the Republic of Paraguay, and to Minister Salman Aguero Caballero of Paraguay's Ministry of Youth, Director Lavon Bertin Desir from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sport of St. Lucia. And our distinguished guests, international delegations, members of the press, and all of the youth participants joining us both in person and via live stream worldwide. Good morning. It is my honor to be here today. The 2024 theme is Connect and Engage, Global Partnership for Youth. We are delighted to welcome 13 international delegations with a total of 300 participants, joined by international youth studying in Taiwan, gathering youth from 34 countries, truly embodying this year's theme of global partnership. We are privileged to have several distinguished speakers who will share their experience and provide valuable insights, including Con Williams, the chairman of SIW, International Volunteering Organization, and Paula Andrea Lopez Rodriguez, the president of the World Youth Alliance, and Mr. Yang Yuren, the founder of the Step 30 International Ministries, Stephen Lee, Deputy Secretary General of the International Cooperation and Development Fund. And I also want to let you know that starting in 2025, the Ministry of Education will launch the Taiwan Global PACE Founders Initiative. In Mandarin is 青年海外百亿圆梦计划. This program aims to foster international connections and encourage creative actions. We hope the Taiwanese youth will actively participate in the future. We also look forward to future collaboration with various international delegations to establish partnerships and alliances. Finally, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you of your participating. I hope that through this forum, everybody will broaden your international perspectives and lay a solid foundation for future international collaborations. And a lot of you from foreign countries, I also want to let you know that our government now is we have a lot of fellowship, that including inviting you for short visit or even have 2 years of study in Taiwan. So I hope you can all take this opportunity to explore Taiwan. And if you feel like you like this place, and feel free to take this advantage in the future. Thank you, and I hope you have a fruitful experience this time. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Minister. Please feel free to return to your seats.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Minister. And also, we're joined by a distinguished guest from Paraguay, the National Youth Secretary of Paraguay, Minister Selma Clara Jasmine Aguero Caballero. So would you please stand?
Welcome.
And wave to everybody. Yes.
All right. Howard, are you aware of how many people from how many different countries are here with us today?
Oh, that's a quiz, but Deputy Minister just mentioned. We have from 34 countries and with more than 300 youth leaders to be here with us today.
So impressive.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that is the time that we need to do live stream and also taking a photo.
Yes.
Right.
Because this is such a significant moment. So we're simply going to capture this moment, a photograph, so that we can share on social media.
Yeah, we're going to have a group photo now. So let's proceed to the group photo. So may I kindly ask everybody to move towards the center. Yes, please stand up and move towards the center. And we will have the camera from the stage. So
our official
let's
photographer.
take the time, yes, to move a little bit.
So I hope everyone can be captured in one photograph.
Yes. We would like to fit everybody in the picture, in the frame. So we need you to squeeze, especially from the two sides. Squeeze in the center. Yes. Don't stay in the corner.
Please come to the center.
Yes.
And gather together.
Yeah. There's still space.
So let's all move toward to the center. Thank you.
All right, so on the count of 3, everybody get ready. 1, 2, 3, cheese!
Cheese! Yay!
One more. 1, 2, 3. Show your beautiful smile to the camera. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Please be seated. Just can't wait for the presentations.
Yes, let's get to it.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up so early.
Yes.
And bring us so much energy. So let's move forward. So this year, the theme for the forum is Connect and Engage, Global Partnership for Youth. So with sessions, so we're going to focus on participation in international organizations, overseas volunteering, and gap year.
Yes. And we are also honored to have with us this year Mr. Koen Wilms, Chairman of SIW Volunteer Organization, who will be sharing his insights with us. So everybody, please join me in welcoming Koen Wilms with a warm round of applause.
All right, let's give it 1 or 2 minutes to get ready. Our staff is working on it. Thank you so much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor to be here today with all of you at the Asian Youth Forum. And I need to put my glasses on, just a second. We gather at a time when youth across the globe face unprecedented challenges, challenges that we didn't choose, but must confront together. The COVID pandemic has transformed our lives, reshaping how we work and communicate. And global warming and various conflicts have their impact as well. But amidst all these changes, we also find an opportunity to rethink, rebuild, and reimagine how we engage with each other and the world to create positive impact. For me, this journey began a long time ago. At the age of 15, during my first experience as a Boy Scout at the World Jamboree in Norway, a similar feeling with so many people around the world gathering together at one place. That event sparked a passion for global engagement that has shaped my life. It was a place where I first realized how powerful it is to connect with people from different cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives. That experience stayed with me, guiding me throughout my career and ultimately to leading where I am today. And maybe this one other thing about me, before you wonder continuously how tall I am. I am 2.03 meters, and no, I don't play basketball. That's the question I get everywhere, so you know that by now. Today, we'll explore the changing landscape of youth participation, the role of young people in global dialogues, and the future of international engagement, in particular through volunteering. And most importantly, we'll discuss how you can continue to ensure your voices resonate on the world stage and how you can connect and engage with one another to build and join partnerships for a better and more inclusive future. The pandemic has had a profound effect on youth participation in international platforms. Pre-pandemic, youth engagement was largely centered around physical events, conferences, forums like these, volunteer programs, trainings, and exchanges. But the pandemic forced us into virtual spaces. There has been a significant overall decline in the number of volunteering projects and volunteers. But there are positive signs of growth in regions like the Americas and in long-term volunteering efforts. The emphasis on environmental projects also signals a shifting focus towards global sustainability efforts. Current realities are the following. We now live in a world of increased global connectivity. With just a few clicks, we can find opportunities and connect with peers across continents. And engagement has gone hybrid. A mix of online and in-person opportunities is now the norm. And I must say the hybrid model has made us all experts in both Teams and Zoom meetings, as well as how to sort out Wi-Fi issues. Youth participation is increasingly focused on social issues, like environmental sustainability, community development, human rights, and intercultural learning. These are issues that matter, and your voice is essential in shaping solutions. One key takeaway from youth participations in the European Solidarity Corps volunteering programs is that while the work is important, actually the fun, friendship, and learning that come from engaging globally are just as vital, if not even more important. However, there are still significant barriers that we need to address. First of all, a lack of awareness. Many young people are simply unaware that international volunteering opportunities even exist. I've encountered numerous individuals who had no idea such programs were available to them. So please share with your friends that these opportunities do exist. And financial barriers. Economic constraints prevent many young people from accessing these opportunities, even though there are actually fully funded programs that could make participation possible. There are visa and legal hurdles. Once a volunteering opportunity is identified, young people often face complicated visa processes. The regulations for international volunteers are often not clear, and the application process can be very slow. And indeed, health and safety concerns. In some cases, young people are hesitant to volunteer due to concerns about health and safety, especially in regions where political instability or violence can escalate suddenly. And this includes gender concerns. In fact, yesterday I tried to arrange an exchange for a Dutch group which included a gay couple to an African country. But this isn't straightforward. And environmental impact, long distance travel, while exciting, contributes to climate change. And many young people are rightly concerned about their carbon footprint when flying to the other side of the world for a project. And yes, so am I. And sustainability. Certain initiatives lack long-term sustainability, making it difficult to maintain momentum. Volunteers, despite their strong desire to make an impact abroad, find that some projects struggle to continue once they leave. And the impact of COVID on certain organizations has been catastrophic. Capacity building and knowledge transfer are crucial. So, what does the future hold? The future of youth participation isn't just about engagement. It's about ensuring sustainable long-term impact through hybrid models that bridge gaps and create lasting partnerships. This hybrid model holds potential to break down geographical barriers, ensuring that voices from every corner of the world are heard. Collecting valuable impact measurement and evaluations are also becoming more and more important. And connecting initiatives to the Sustainable Development Goals. These SDGs set a global agenda for transforming our world by 2030. And youth are at the heart of the transformation. And hopefully you have seen these pictures before. Whether it's through environmental sustainability, gender equality or quality education, the SDGs offer a framework for how we can all contribute to a better world. So how can we leverage youth engagement to accelerate progress towards these goals? The answer is through global partnership, connecting, sharing, and collaborating on solutions that transcend borders. We need to create platforms that prioritize accessibility and diversity. Networks, like in fact you are here today, that aren't just about participation, but also about creating real impact for local communities and for participants themselves. And that's where each of you comes in. You're here to learn from others, and at the same time, you are the architects of the future. You have the creativity, the drive, and the passion to reconnect the world and expand these networks for global youth participation. And in the world of International Voluntary Service, IVS, there are many of these platforms. The Alliance of Voluntary Service Organizations is a great example of such an inclusive network in Europe. The NVDA, Network for Voluntary Development in Asia, is a similar organization for Asia, with Vision Youth Action, VYA, being here the local partner in Taiwan. In this way, over 15,000 volunteers contributed last year to almost 3,000 projects in 71 countries, according to recent figures of the CCIVS, the Coordinating Committee for International Voluntary Service. And any idea which country had most volunteering projects? In fact, your representative is here. Yes, it was Vietnam, with over 300 projects, out of 800 in Asia as a whole. So why should you engage in international volunteering? As someone who has worked in a global role in the private sector, I've seen firsthand how interconnected the world has become. Climate change, economic inequality, health crisis, they don't recognize national borders. These are global issues and require global solutions. And you are in a unique position to drive that change. By engaging internationally, as I have experienced numerous times, you will gain diverse perspectives, exposure to different cultures, ideas and ways of thinking, broadens your horizons and fosters innovation. This helps you developing a global mindset, which is essential in today's interconnected world, and it helps you to set clearer goals and directions in your life. Building networks. International participation allows you to form lasting relationships with peers, mentors, and leaders from all over the world. These networks create lifelong friendships, opportunities for collaboration, and professional growth. And finally, develop crucial skills. Whether you're leading a project, presenting at a conference, or volunteering abroad, you will develop leadership, communication, and problem-solving skills, soft skills that are invaluable in today's world. International volunteering makes you, in fact, stand out when you come to a job interview. So, what's the reality? International volunteering programs are often underfunded and overlooked, and that is a critical issue that we must address. Many talented young people do not have access to global opportunities, simply because there is not enough financial resources to support them. And this is where awareness and funding become crucial. We need to build a world where young people don't have to choose between pursuing their passions and meeting their financial needs. Without funding, we cannot provide the opportunities and infrastructure needed to sustain these programs, whether through scholarships, grants, or corporate sponsorships. Funding is essential to ensuring that youth programs are not only sustainable, but also scalable. And we must continue to advocate for funding for programs that target the most marginalized and underdeserved communities. We need to raise awareness with governments, international organizations, and corporate sectors about the importance of volunteering initiatives. We need them to recognize that investing in young people is an investment in the future of our societies. And in fairness, some well-known trends do this already. Think about Starbucks, Apple, and even Shell. I encourage you to become advocates for the value of volunteering and the support it needs. Whether you're applying for a program or running one, think about how you can contribute to raising awareness and securing resources for the global volunteer movement. Now, let's talk about gap years. They have often been debated, but their value is increasingly recognized in the context of career development and personal growth, even if not so common here in Asia. A gap year can take many forms: volunteering, internships, travel, au pair, or further education. And the benefits are immense. I have witnessed that firsthand with our eldest son, who did a gap year in New Zealand. During that year, he volunteered, traveled, and learned. It was an experience that broadened his perspective and helped him grow into a more confident, capable individual. And yes, he enjoyed being far away from his parents, as far as you can almost be. Personal growth. A gap year is an opportunity to step out of your comfort zone and learn things about yourself that you won't find in a classroom. Career development. Whether through work experience, internships, or skill building, a gap year enhances your career prospects and prepares you for the challenges ahead. And cultural immersion. Traveling or volunteering abroad gives you a deeper understanding of the world and broadens your worldview, which is essential for any global career. And whether you're volunteering, interning, traveling, or studying, a gap year is a powerful opportunity to grow personally and professionally. It allows you to explore, learn, and grow in ways that are difficult to replicate in a traditional academic setting. It's about building the foundation for who you want to become, whether that's a leader, a creator, or an advocate for change. Now, finally, to have a positive experience in a global adventure, preparation is essential. Here's what I have learned over the years and what we stimulate with SIW International Volunteering Projects, through which we have exchanged over 1,000 youngsters in the last 6 years. First of all, educate yourself. The first step is to understand the world around you, understand global issues, current events, and the political, social, and economic context of different regions. And knowledge is the foundation of meaningful participation. And at the same time, reflect where you stand yourself. What are your talents? What would you like to learn? Secondly, cultivate curiosity and cultural sensitivity. This is something I've learned through travel and volunteering. When I was doing my practice as a student in Greece, in Athens, for example, I learned a bit of the Greek language. It didn't make me fluent, but it did help me to connect with people. And don't be afraid to ask questions. There is nothing like a stupid question. And finally, language skills. I've always believed that language is more than just communication. It's a bridge between cultures. Whether it was English, French, German, or indeed Greek, each language I learned opened new doors for meaningful relationships. And yes, Google Translate makes this so much easier than when I was your age. So, as we begin this exciting two-day journey, I urge you to think about how you too can connect and engage with others on the global stage. Whether it's through online platforms, international volunteering, or indeed a gap year, this is your moment to create meaningful impact, and an impact abroad, as per the slogan of our organization, SIW. You have the power to shape the world. And if you want to join an international volunteering project, please be aware that you can find volunteering opportunities through an IVS organization in the country of your residency or citizenship. They will support you to find your dream project, also support you during the project and after you return home. So, let's not just talk about change, let's be the change. Connect, engage, and build partnerships that will shape the world for generations to come. Together, we can create a world that is more connected, more inclusive, and more compassionate than ever before. Thank you, and let's get started.
Thank you, Mr. Wilms. Thank you so much for the inspiration. And now, please feel free to return to your seat. And next, we have Mr. Stephen Lee, Deputy Secretary General of the International Cooperation and Development Fund, here to share his perspectives. Let's welcome him with a round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stephen Lee. I'm from the Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund. In Chinese, 国合会. So in abbreviation, we usually be called Taiwan ICDF. Taiwan ICDF is a foreign aid agency under the guidance and the supervision of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of China, Taiwan. So the chair of the board of directors of Taiwan ICDF is also our foreign minister. So Taiwan ICDF is very similar to the US aid of JICA, Japan, and the United States. So we are in charge of the so-called Official Development Assistance Programs, ODA programs, and of course, dispatching the volunteers. Called Official Development Assistance Volunteers, one of our core operations. So I would like to share some information about the operations implemented by our organizations and some information about the volunteer programs. Maybe you are not so familiar with the Taiwan ICDF. Even I just emphasize Taiwan ICDF is very similar to the US aid from the United States and the JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency from Japan. I think most of Taiwanese people, maybe they are not so familiar with these organizations, except you are working in the diplomatic or foreign affairs related fields. So Taiwan ICDF was originally coming our first ODA dispatching program and organization since the year of 1959. until now. But maybe you are not so clear. Taiwan was a recipient country in the year of 1951 to 1965. But during the period when Taiwan received the U.S. aid, U.S. foreign aid, Taiwan also provided the ODA to some developing countries. So you can see that in the year of 1959, as I know, in December 26 of 1959, we dispatched the agricultural technical mission to Vietnam to provide some agricultural technical assistance to Vietnam. As I know, at that time, Vietnam is a rice imported country. But right now, Vietnam is almost the number one of the rice exported countries. So since, until now, Taiwan ICDF was established in 1996. Because before the 1996, we have two kinds of ODA programs. One is focusing on the agricultural technical support. One is related to the economic and the trade assistance programs. So in the year of 1996, our government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, combined two kinds of assistance programs then to establish a foundation, a fund, the so-called Taiwan International Cooperation and Development Fund. And in charge of all of the ODA programs under these organizations. Since the official resources is always limited, so we only focusing some ODA resources in these 6 priority core programs, including agriculture, public health, medicine, education, ICT, information and communication technologies, and environmental issues, as well as SME development. Since Taiwan has provided agricultural technical mission over 60 years, or more than half centuries, so agriculture is one of all our cooperations. And by the way, our partner countries all belong to the developing countries. So the food security is the first priority of their governmental development policy. So we put a lot of resources on agricultural technical cooperations. Of course, as to the public health and medicine, is also our core programs with some competitive advantage from Taiwan. So we are pleased to provide some medical and public health technical assistance to our partner countries, including Taiwan's ally countries, as well as developing friendly countries. Of course, including our, as I know, some participants from our ally country, St. Lucia, right, Paraguay, as well. And as to the education, Taiwan ICDF also provide some scholarship to our ally countries, young people of friendly country, come from the friendly countries to study in Taiwan. So, in addition to send volunteers, we are so open for the young people studying and working in Taiwan. So, under these programs, the ICDF, we provide a full scholarship for the young people studying in Taiwan, 2 years full scholarship for master's degree, and 4 years for doctorate degrees. So if you are interested to apply Taiwan ICDF scholarship, just feel free to visit our website for more information. And then is ICT. As you know, semiconductor is another name card of Taiwan. So we are proud to provide our development experience in the area of ICT. So ICT is one of the major tools for our foreign aid. Then, as to the environment, as you know, the climate change issue is so impact our life of the world. So right now we combine the environmental and the energy development issues into our ODA programs. The last one is SME development. I would like to show you some statistics data. In Taiwan, 98.8% of all enterprises belong to SMEs, and around 75% of workforce work for the SME companies. So SME is one of Taiwan's key factors for economic success or development. So we are pleased to share the information about the SME development experience with our partner countries. So these 6 priority core programs right now is our top areas. We put a lot of OD resource with our partner countries. And of course, the 6 priority core programs are related directly or indirectly to the SDG goals. And then this chart will show you our programs and carry out in the different friendly countries and belong or related to different SDG goals. For example, we put a lot of resource in the Latin American and the Caribbean nations and the South Pacific areas, as well as some countries in the South America and the African continent. Okay, let's talk about Turkey. I would like to show you some programs that we are doing now with the so-called youth international engagement. In Taiwan ICDF, we implement 2 kinds of the programs related to the youth engagement with the international affairs. One is Taiwan ICDF Overseas Volunteers. So in abbreviation, we usually call TOV, Taiwan Overseas Volunteers. We dispatch our volunteers since the 1996, because ICDF was established in 1996. So in the late year of the same years, we dispatch the first page on the official developing volunteers to our ally country, the Kingdom of Eswatini. As I know, in that year, we just sent 5 volunteers to the Kingdom of Eswatini. And maybe you are interested. The average age of the first page of 5 volunteers is around 40 years old. It's nothing to do with the young people issue, right? Because for us, it's a new trial to dispatch the volunteer. So we are not sure it's 2 young people, they can work overseas and make them safe and secure to sustain. So we recruit more older volunteers, enjoy our first dispatch, volunteer dispatching programs. But until now, we have been accumulated dispatching around 800 and almost 890 volunteers. Since Taiwan ICDF's TOB program is professional-oriented programs, so if you have the expertise in the 6 priority expertise, including agricultural expertise, ICT, as well as public health and medicine, you are most welcome to apply Taiwan ICDF's volunteers and dispatching to our partner country for serving 1 to 2 years. Because Taiwan ICDF's volunteers is very similar to the Peace Corps or the JOCV from Japan. So we copy some methodologies from these 2 organizations and combine the Taiwan's competitive advantages. So we would like to provide a platform for Taiwan's young people can use this channel to realize their dream overseas. And of course, in Taiwan ICDF, the TOB program is one kind of human resource development to our department, our partner countries. It's also an opportunity for our local young people to grow in the developing country and experience the different culture and living style in the developing country as well as serve for our ally countries. So we have dispatched in 48 countries. Then there are 2 parts of Taiwan ICDF or official volunteers programs. One is the long-term volunteers. Usually, the volunteers stationed in the partner countries at least 1 year. and at most 2 years. Because according to experience, the International Development Organization, for example, the USAID or the JICA or the KOV, or KOV means Korea Overseas Volunteers, they are usually to dispatch the official volunteers for 2 years service abroad, overseas. So for our program, the official program and the official volunteer should station in the partner country for 1 to 2 years. And these volunteers, we are usually dispatched to those countries who has the formal diplomatic tie with Taiwan, including like the Paraguay, the St. Lucia, and we have more volunteers in the Guatemala, Belize, Eswatini, and St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent, as well as some friendly countries. For example, we have dispatched the volunteers to Kenya with some international organizations under the whole umbrella, because we don't have any field representative office in Kenya, in some African countries, for example. So we got to cooperate with some international organization under their system. Then we dispatch the volunteer working in that countries. Then the second part is the project-based volunteers. In another name is short-term volunteer. It depends on the period of the ODA programs. If the programs is just 6 months, then we dispatch the short-term volunteers, then working for the partner countries and stationed in that specific countries just for 6 months. So it's another way, another platform for our local young people during their gap year in the career fields. If you would like to change another new job and you would like to have some abroad volunteer service experience, maybe you can attend this program. You just spend 3 to 6 months working overseas, then come back to Taiwan for your next career opportunities. And this chart, we would like to share some information. We cooperate with the international organization or the Taiwan's local NGOs, but they have the branch office or have the field sites in the different countries. For example, in Cambodia, Uganda, and some countries, for example, Romania, we don't have any representative office from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So we got to make some connection with the local office, but under the international organization. For example, France International, and we have also partnership with the Step 30, and we dispatch some volunteers to do the public health efforts in Uganda and Kenya. Besides the programs, volunteer programs, under the guidance of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we implement a program so-called Taiwan Youth Overseas Service Program, in Chinese, 外交替代役. But this program is only for boys, because it's some kind of the military alternative service in our area countries. So when the young people, they graduate from the college or universities, they got to serve, contribute for the military service in the army in Taiwan. But you can choose these programs. It's alternative military service in all other countries. And all of these programs, same is a professional-oriented program. So if you would like to apply this program, you got to match some professional requirements. For example, you are familiar, or you got a degree related to agriculture, economic trade, ICT, medicine, and public health, or aquaculture, as well as some environmental issues. So you feel free to apply this. Then we will dispatch you to our other countries for the technical support. And that this is very important for Taiwan to cultivate the human resources, especially for foreign aid. Because according to our statistics, right now we have dispatched more than 1,500 service young people working in our countries. And among this, 50%, around 50%, when they retire from this program, they joined Taiwan ICDF or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and continue their career in the fields of official development assistance. So this is another way for ICDF or for the Foreign Ministry to build up the capacity building for the human resource for foreign aid. And also we dispatch some Mandarin teachers carry out a teaching program in our country and the friend countries. So if the Taiwanese people, if they have the degree related to the so-called Mandarin teaching, master or bachelor degree, you are most welcome to apply this program, then realize your teaching dream in our country and also expand and make some cultural inter-exchange programs with the young people in our country and the friendly countries. And this section, I would like to show that we provide another channel for the young people when they are still studying in the schools, in the university or college. They are not graduated yet, but they do have some opportunity to take this channel as an intern to work or to provide your expertise for our partner countries. So this is internship programs. We provide some internship programs for those young people studying Taiwan, young students. They have some background in agriculture, or ICT, or public medicine, or environmental, or engineer, or as well as SME management background. They can spend 1 semester then working in our partner country, including our country and the friendly country, and also the school, the university side. They will give the student the academic credits from 6 credits to 9 credits. It depends on the school's policy. So that means you can spend 1 month, 1 semester, then you take the internship academic credits, but you don't study in school on campus. You work for our other countries with our technical mission in some specific countries. Then the Taiwan ICDF will assume all the expense, including the round-trip flight, insurance, living allowance, and some training courses. So it's a good way for the students, when they're still students, they have the exchange, they have the opportunities to explore the world, and especially you have the opportunity to expand your relationship to promote Taiwan's culture to the another world of developing countries. And the other one is overseas volunteer intern. It's also an intern, but you provide some different expertise, except agriculture or medical, because some students, they do have some expertise, but not including to the 6th priority of ICDF. So maybe they don't have opportunity to work overseas. So we provide this channel for overseas. Of course, the last one is a Mandarin teaching project. If you are a student and right now you are studying in the degree of Mandarin teachings, even you are just a student right now, you also can take this channel to be an intern working for our partner country and provide the expertise on the Mandarin teachings. And all the intern program lasts for 1 semester. So if you are interested, for the Taiwanese young people, you can feel free to visit Taiwan ICDF's website for more information. So it's another promotion for ICDF. So we got the FB, YouTube, and the IG. Also, we have some podcasts. Just Google the term, Steve. So it's all my presentation. Thanks for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Deputy Secretary General from ICDF.
Thank you for your sharing. So in addition to our guest that's here with us today, we have also invited Ms. Paula Andrea Lopez Rodriguez, President of the World Youth Alliance, WYA, to join us online. So probably we can get a few minutes and to see if
Paula is online.
you're online already. Paula, good morning.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. And now we would like to turn the time over to Paula for her presentation. Please join me in welcoming her with a round of applause.
Great, thank you. Well, it's a pity I could not join you in person, but I hope you are having fun and connecting with wonderful people and learning. So before diving into what the World Youth Alliance is and why it's such a unique organization, I would like to share a little bit about my own journey with WYA in short. This story is close to my heart, and I hope it inspires you to see how meaningful this organization is. Next. So in 2020, I was a student in Colombia, but I decided to travel to New York City for an internship. But just as I arrived, the world was turned upside down by the pandemic and lockdowns. And far from home, alone in a city I didn't know, I wasn't expecting to find what I did, a family that I wasn't even looking for. The World Youth Alliance welcomed me with open arms during one of the most uncertain and challenging times in my life. And they supported me in many ways. I will never forget, I felt cared for, loved, and truly seen. It was during that period that I realized there was something bigger happening there in the World Youth Alliance. WYA wasn't just as what they mentioned, an organization, it was a movement of people who believed in the intrinsic value of every person and were actively working to protect and promote that value. So I knew at that moment that I wanted to be part of that mission. Next. So after that internship, I was offered a position with WYA, and over time I grew in my role. And in 2022, I became the regional director for Latin America. That role allowed me to meet amazing young people from across the region, each, of course, passionate and about dignity and human rights. And just 2 years later, I was honored to take on the role of president of the World Youth Alliance. So it has been an incredible journey since then, and one that has allowed me to grow both personally but also professionally. So today, I'm here to invite you to start your own journey with WYA, a journey that I promise will have a profound impact in your life and the world around you and your communities. So before continuing, I'd like to extend a very special greeting to some of WYA's most committed members from the Asia Pacific and North America regions. It's wonderful to see you all attending this conference in person as well. To all of you present here today, unfortunately, I won't be able to participate in the panel discussion during this conference. However, I strongly encourage you to connect with our leader members who are there and ready to support you. Regine, Tom, Anilda, Reese, John, thank you for being there. You all will know them if you haven't so far. They're experts in WYA, and I'm very confident that they will offer insights after the panel discussion, or I invite you to also stop by our booth. So please don't hesitate to reach out to them if you have any questions. Next. So what exactly is the World Youth Alliance? At its core, WAYA is a global movement, as I mentioned before, of young people united by a common belief that every human being has intrinsic dignity, value, and worth. This isn't just an abstract idea. It's basically the foundation for building societies where rights are respected, freedom thrives, and communities are empowered. So WAYA was born out of a pivotal moment. Anna Halpine, our founder, attended a UN conference on population and development in New York City. She witnessed how a group of 20 young people representing the more than 3 million youth in the world, according to the UN at the moment, were promoting ideas that undermine the value of life and dignity, particularly in policies affecting youth and the family. Next. So they were demanding three aspects. First, abortion as a human right. Next, introduction of sexual rights to children as young as 10 years old. Next, and the deletion of parental rights. Next. She knew this wasn't a fundamental truth. Anna Halpine thought young people must advocate for the basic needs of every person, regardless of borders, regardless of backgrounds, or regardless of circumstances. Next. So, next. She had a clear idea that every human being needs to have access to food, clean water and housing. Next, provision for basic health care and sanitation. Next, and access to education. Next. So she gathered like-minded young people and drafted what we now call the WAYA Charter, a document that sets out our principles and guides our work as well. The next day, she handed these pamphlets out and caused a stir at the United Nations, when delegations from different countries began calling on her to speak on behalf of their youth. In that moment, she spoke not just for herself, but for also the youth of the world, urging everyone present to recognize the importance of the person. Next. Anna's intervention was a moment of pandemonium because it demanded a shift in perspective. This sets the foundation for the powerful movement that the World Youth Alliance is today. Next. So the WAYA Charter is at the heart of our mission, as I mentioned before, and it outlines the core principles that we stand for. First, human dignity is intrinsic and universal. It's not dependent on status, wealth, or even actions. It is inherent to every human person. Next. Of course, the family is the most fundamental unit of society. Next. And the holistic development is important as well in achieving a free and just society. Next. So today, WAYA has a strong presence across the world. We have regional offices in 6 key regions: Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe, Latin America, the Middle East and North Africa, and North America. This global network allows us as well to work together on shared goals, which are basically promote human dignity on an international scale and collaborate as well across cultures. Next. We are present in more than 200 countries and territories. Next. And we count with more than 80 chapters and national committees around the world. Next. These principles also shape our work and everything that we do at the World Youth Alliance, whether it's training youth, advocating at the United Nations, or promoting a culture of dignity. These values are what drive us. Next. So how do we make change happen? Next. We promote dignity through advocacy, education, and culture. Next. So what we do in advocacy. Next. Next. Again. Again. Thank you. So we engage in policy work representing young people at global institutions like the United Nations, the European Union, the Organization of American States, the African Union. But we also train young people to engage in that policy work. Next. Our training programs, such as, next, please. Thank you. Next. Next. Our training programs, such as the Certified Training Program, equip young people with the tools to become leaders who promote dignity. But we don't only have the Certified Training Program, but also the internship program or youth conferences and training sessions. Next. Thank you. So we work as well in a third area, culture, and we work to promote a culture of dignity through art, through media, and community-driven projects that inspire others to live out these values as well. Next. Next. Thank you. So basically what we want to do is through our programs, training youth, impacting different sectors as well in society, and build that culture that respects the dignity of every human being. Next. So what's next after today? Next. One of our flagship programs is the Certified Training Program, and this is your first step into the World Youth Alliance. Through the CTP, you will learn about the philosophical foundations of human dignity, the principles of freedom, and how to engage in effective advocacy. This program is designed to empower young leaders to make a real impact in their communities. Next. The World Youth Alliance Certified Training Program helps young people to understand and advocate for human dignity, drawing on the ideas of influential figures. If you are interested, we have here the next batch of the Certified Training Program and the deadlines as well. You can also take a look at our website and register there. So what are those influential figures? Next. So we have some of the authors that you already know: Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, C.S. Lewis, and Pope John Paul II. In Mahatma Gandhi, well, of course, he emphasized nonviolence and truth. Nelson Mandela focused on reconciliation and equality. C.S. Lewis highlighted moral law and the intrinsic value of each person. And Pope John Paul II advocated for the protection of human life and rights. So these teachings guide participants in promoting dignity in our certified training program. Next. Next. So once you complete the certified training program, you have several options for further involvement. Next. So you can join the Advocacy Academy, where we provide advanced training in policy engagement. You can open a YS chapter in your own community. Next. Next. Bringing our mission closer to home and creating opportunities as well for local advocacy and education. Next. But since the certified training program is the door to the many programs that we have, you also find more of those programs in our booth. Some of those are, for example, the International Solidarity Forum, which is going to happen as well next year on gender ideology. Next. So if you're interested to be part of any of our conferences, of our forums, chapters, or even regional or international events, feel free to also reach out to our leaders as well. Next. Or even becoming a YA staff. Next. So before I jumped into something else, I wanted to explain something very important to the World Youth Alliance that is setting as well the foundation of everything we do. We call this the policy cycle. And the policy cycle of the World Youth Alliance is a structured approach that integrates policy development, funding, and program implementation to advocate for human dignity. The cycle includes, as you can see, policy development, which means that WIA identifies critical issues related to human dignity and develops policies that promote these values. This involves research, policy recommendations, engagement with policymakers at local, national, and international levels. Then funding and support, we try to implement the policies and programs, right? So, programs. To implement the policies, we need programs. So WIA works to secure that funding and resources through partnerships, donations, and grants. And this financial support ensures as well that advocacy efforts are initiatives that can be sustained and scaled. And third, through program implementation, WIA implements programs that reflect the core values of human dignity, such as the Certified Training Program that I already mentioned, FEM, Fertility Education and Medical Management, and the Human Dignity Curriculum. So these programs aim to educate and empower youth to take action on policy issues and promote dignity in their own communities. Next. The Human Dignity Curriculum is an educational tool, is used in schools to teach students the importance of human dignity and equip them to address ethical issues critically as well. On the other side, next, FEM, which stands for Fertility Education and Medical Management, it's the sister organization of the World Youth Alliance. And it all started, well, now it's an organization, but it was a program. Now it's an organization that provides women with comprehensive knowledge about their health and fertility. And it's a response to the need for better health education and care for women and couples. So you'll see as well here that we have an app that you can easily download on Android and also Apple Store, FEM Health. If you want more information, again, you're welcome to come to our booth. Next. So both of these two last programs are a direct response to the policy cycle, ensuring that we're not only advocating for change, but actively working to implement it on the ground. So if you are interested, please next. How can you get involved? Next. Next. Thank you. So join us as a WIA member because you will have the opportunity to be in more than just an organization. As I mentioned before, a movement, a family, and a platform for all of you to make a difference. I hope my story and the work that we do at WIA inspire you all to join us in this mission. And I look forward to see you again next year. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paula. Thank you. Next, please join me giving a warm welcome to Mr. Yang Youren, who is the founder of Step 30 International Ministry and a highly respected figure here in Taiwan, to share his insights with us. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
All right. So I'm the founder of Step 30 International Ministry. My name is Eugene. My English name is Eugene. 中文是杨佑任. I think unlike our first speaker, Mr. Gun, I will not disclose my height here, and I don't play basketball for obvious reasons, you know. But anyway, I heard that a lot of you have been to our warehouse yesterday to do some volunteering work. So if you have, let me understand my audience. If you have volunteered yesterday at our warehouse sorting out shoes and resources, if that's you, can you raise your hand, please? Oh, okay. Okay, quite a few people. Okay. So for those of you, my wife hosted you yesterday, talked about how we started our organization 10 years ago, and I will brief those who have that didn't go yesterday of what we do. Okay. So 10 years ago, I started this organization called Step 30 International Ministry. We do a lot of humanitarian work in all over Africa, over 10 countries in Africa. So how we started, it was because a sand fleet called jiggers that constantly buried themselves in the feet of our students. So, you know, they would lay egg, all kinds of infections. So we started treating them and realizing they need shoes. Otherwise, they'll get infected again when they started walking on dirt road. So we started collecting shoes in Taiwan. And, I didn't know it was going to explode in Taiwan. You know, all of a sudden, we got 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 pairs of shoes flooded into our house. So that's the beginning of our organization. But then after that, we started living in Africa. My wife and my 4 kids, we lived in Africa. And yeah, I got 4 kids, yeah. Yeah, we lived there and we realized there's other needs. And we started expanding to different countries in Africa. We started hosting events in Canada, in America, in Hong Kong, of course, in Taiwan. And we started to dig into deeper root cause of the problem, which, you know, by treating them, giving them shoes, we realized they need sanitation education. We started teaching sanitation education, and then we started going into their house to do natural flooring because that's where most of the parasite resides. And then we started building schools for them. First, we used a container that was used for the transportation of the shoes and clothes. We turned the container into school buildings. And then we started building actual brick schools. So that's one thing that we do, education. And also we started digging wells, providing clean water. Certain areas you can dig wells, certain areas you use electric pump, solar panel, and in certain areas there's no underground water, so we started digging water dam in Somaliland and places like that. And then we continued to expand, giving them food by teaching them how to grow organic farming techniques. So pretty much a whole community development, you can see that. And of course, we do a lot of international volunteering, Taiwan and international too. So every month, we will send groups of young people to volunteer in Africa. So whether it's 2 months, 2 weeks, to 6 months, to a year, we do different programs here. And that's pretty much what we do, developing different areas, different communities. And of course, we have a lot of events that's happening in Taiwan. For example, right now, as we're speaking, there's an event happening in Taichung starting today. It's going to last for 2 days only, where thousands of Taiwanese people will go giving resources like shoes, clothes, or different things. And then we have about 700 volunteers right now in Taichung. So this is pretty much what we do. So, but today, what I really want to share with you is, of the past 10 years, what have we learned as an organization and myself in Africa? You know, my wife and my kids, we lived in Africa. There's certain things that we have learned, and I'm here to be real with you, to tell you, you know, the real story that happened in our organization and things that I've learned. For example, number one is, this is something that we see all over in different rural areas in Africa. You know, tons of like people will go there to do humanitarian work, and I realized when you actually don't understand the culture, it's really, really hard for you to actually, you know, be beneficial. Let me give you an illustration. This is something that I've seen in our villages. You know, we will have some foreigners that will give money to help so-called orphanages in our villages. And then I realized what really is going on is these orphanages, because the donors only comes here once a year, but they're not really using their money for good. So what happened is when the donors come, they will rent an empty building and then gather all the neighborhood kids to come together and then sing songs for them. And you know, those donors will come once a year and then they will see that and they'll be like, oh man, that's so awesome. Look at all the kids singing. And then they will go home to fundraise more money and they never really know what's happening on the ground. I was like, man, that's pretty sad. And then now, I'm not talking about all the people who are scammers and con artists. I'm talking about even when you have goodwill people, you know, donors, whether from Taiwan and North America, and then you have people that are good in the villages in Africa, you still have those gap between them. What do I mean? For example, I remember this one time, there's one guy from, I forgot it was Canada or America. He will come to our village once a year. And then, you know, he will bring in different professionals to come to our village to try to teach the kids or try to help out. So one year, he comes gathering 50 teachers of the local area. And then he has somebody coming to teach about Montessori or some sort of teaching technique. And then you see all those 50 teachers and principals from the village in Africa. They would sit there, they would listen, and it's like, oh, this is great. And then the donors kind of got the professionals to teach them. And then once it's done, is this going to be good for you guys? Yeah, this is going to change us. And then the donors flew home. And, you know, us, we live, you know, there every day, day in, day out. We see they're not implementing all this technique that they've learned. And what the crazy thing is this. The donors will come back. The donor will come back next year. And then he will gather the same 50 principals and teachers together. And then he will say, so, what's up? The past year, how is it? How is it in your school? And this is the crazy thing you will see. All the principals and teachers will raise their hand. And be like, okay, I just want to let you know it has completely changed our school. And I'm like, what? Now, I'm not saying they're lying. When you really dig into it, in Kenya, this is our culture. We honor our guest. This is about honoring guests. You get what I'm saying? They're saying he flew all the way from America to us. He spent all this money hiring that professionals come here. We don't want to disappoint him. This is our way to honor the guest. So do you get my point? When you don't understand the culture, when you don't live there, it's really, really, really hard to actually know what your effort has done. I mean, this is the reality of doing cross-cultural work. You know, when you don't understand the culture, you don't really understand what it means. I remember reading an article, you know, talking about this baby bottle food going to Africa the first time. Now, this is an article that I read. It talks about how in one village, this baby bottle company, kind of like what we know, you print the pretty baby's happy face, you know, this is baby food, right? But here's the thing. In this area of this certain town, what they understand is whatever you're selling, you print it on the bottle. So you can imagine when that baby bottle goes into that area, everybody's like, what? So this is what I'm saying. You know, the marketer didn't make any mistake. He is saying things the way that he understands. But the listeners have different worldview. So he's receiving things that you don't know he's receiving. That's the simple fact of cross-cultural services. You know, if I'm, like, for example, if I have a car accident, if my daughter, have a car accident and die, it's tragedy. If I'm a religious person, I would think it's a demonic attack. If I'm a Chinese Taoist, I would say it's karma. My previous life must have done something wrong, so this is my payback time, right? If I don't believe in anything, I'm not a religious person. What do I think? It's just chance and opportunity. It's just the chance of life. You see, same incident, same information will be interpreted completely different. Completely different thinking based on your worldview. So as you do cross-cultural business or mission or humanitarian work, you have to spend a little bit of time to understand the culture in order for you to be successful. What does that mean for my organization? You know, there's one time where we're trying to push the program to raise chicken for the locals because it's cheap enough and reproducing fast. Chicken, laying eggs, and chicken, more chicken, more chicken. And then we realized it didn't work in one tribe. We ended up realizing in that tribe, the way they honor their guests is killing chicken and treat them chicken, cook them chicken. So that program would not work over there. So here you go. You got to understand the culture. For example, another program that we're trying to do is organic toilet. Okay, so you do organic way to reuse their poo as fertilizer. Didn't work in one tribe. Why? Because in that tribe, it's a taboo for grown-up to touch human waste. Didn't work. So it all has to do with culture. So number one thing that I've learned is you have to get in there. You have to stay long enough. You have to understand their culture in order for cross-cultural business and cross-cultural mission to work. Number two things that I've learned is people, when it comes to my line of work, especially when it comes to saving kids and things like that, people are very, very emotional, sometimes to the point where we're not being logical. What do I mean? Have you ever heard of the term poverty porn? Who here has heard of the term poverty porn? Okay, everybody know poverty, everybody know porn. Nobody knows what poverty porn is. But basically, what it means is something that's very vulgar, graphic, and you watch more and more, and your taste becomes stronger and stronger. So in certain ways, it's almost weird that when it's not sick enough, you're not stirred enough to give towards that cause. Which caused the NPO, nonprofits, continue to push out disgusting, crazy, war-torn, kids missing limbs, blood, all that kind of imagery so that people will give money. That's what we call poverty porn. And you get certain points where we're desensitized by all this imagery. So you got people who are saying, "Oh, that's not like poor enough, man. I've seen something even poorer." You know what I mean? And when you get to a certain point, people don't think logically. Let me give you an illustration. These are two pictures that I took from one of our village. This is they're all from church program orphanages. So I got Pastor A and Pastor B. Now here's Pastor A, where in his orphanage, everybody has a pair of shoes, clothes, everybody has a bed. All the kids have money to go to school and eat. Pastor A. Here you go, Pastor B. You see all these 5 kids sitting in one bed? That's their bed. So they share one bed. 5, 6 kids sharing one bed. You see how dark it is? Power got cut off. They ain't got no money to pay for it. And then everybody's hungry. Now, here you go. You, as a donor, as somebody who's seeing this situation, you got $100 American dollar. Who would you give towards to? A or B? B, okay. They're not lying. These two are my friends. They're my actual friends. They're not lying. They're good people. But because I know them, you know what they're going to do with your money? Pastor B, you guys all giving to Pastor B? Pastor is going to buy a bunch of sacks of potatoes and beans and, food, basically, for the kids. So they will eat good stuff. And then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months later, you know what's going to happen? The food's going to be gone. They're going to be gone, right? They spend it all. So they'll continue to live like this. You know what's going to happen to Pastor A? He's going to take your $100, your $100, your $100, your $100. He's going to buy a lot of seeds and farming tools and teach their kids how to farm. So they will harvest again and again and again. And one time he bought a lot of chicken, and he was teaching the kids how to raise their chicken and then lay eggs. And I remember he was teaching the kids how to sell half the egg and keep half to eat. And he will be sustainable. And he will continue to get more money and then be reproducing more produce. Here's a crazy thing, though. My point is not about Pastor A or Pastor B. My point is about orphanage leaders C, D, E, F, G. You know what they're going to learn from what just happened here? This is what they will learn. The poorer you are, the more resources you will have. When you take care of your kids like this, nobody's going to give you money. Nobody's going to help you when you take good care of your kids. And that is the reality on the ground. I got friends who support baby orphanages because they were driving a car that is so beat up, a little mini bus, driving a so beat up car, and then he bought them a new car. A couple months later, he realized nobody's driving that car. You know why? Because the orphanage leader said, if I drive that good car, nobody's going to give me money anyway. Nobody's going to give me money eventually because they think I have money. So we all know that consumers decide what the product is going to be like. The more certain type of product that you buy and consume, the more it will look like that. So as a donor, we also, in some way, encourage what's going to happen on the ground. Imagine this, if all of us give money towards organizations that have an action plan, that have executed well, and give report, what do you think A, B, C, D, E, F, G leaders are going to think? I think we better have an action plan. I think we better keep track of how we spend money and the report giving. Otherwise, we won't have money, right? So as donors, as a participant of all these international aid, let's try not to help the poorest looking group of people. Let's try to help the group of people that might have action plan, that might have put in effort and give report and things like that. And eventually, we will encourage the system to change because consumers decide what the end product is going to look like by pursuing them, by giving towards them. And last thing, so our goal should be stop helping, be sustainable. Let me give you one illustration. Everybody likes to go to our desert to dig well because people die from drinking dirty water. We have seen kids drink yellow, bacteria-infested dirty water, and all the foreigners will go there, give money, dig a well. It's a great thing to be there. The drill go in, water spring out. The whole village gathered together. Our African mama sing songs. That's how they sing songs. It's a big celebration, and you can imagine the donors will go home wonderful, feeling wonderful, awesome. But you know what's going to happen on the ground? Let me give you some real story. 1 year, everybody will drink clean water. 1 month later, 1 year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, one of the pipe will break. And all the people are going to look at each other and it's like, you know how to fix this? No, I don't know how to fix this. You know how to fix this? No, let's go back to drinking dirty water. If you're not there long term, you're never really going to know what's happening on the ground. In our desert, we got tons of broken down wells. And I'm not talking about other people because this happened to us too. The very first well we dug broke in this third or fourth year. I can't remember what year. So we spent $2,000-3,000 American dollars to fix it. And we realized that's not going to work because every year we dig another 10, 20 wells. We're not going to fix hundreds of them in the future. So we started saying, okay, they need to be self-sustainable. What can we do? So we get Kun to be our leader. Everybody, you are poor, but you can afford $1, right? $1, just $1. So we collect all the $1, and then eventually we will have the fund. We put it in Mr. Kun's hand, and then we will be able to fix it when anything is broken down. But that didn't work. You know why? Because Kun never seen so much money. He ran away with it. That's actually happened to us. But we still wanted to be self-sustainable, so what can we do? So we started gathering leader. We have pastor, we have the principal, we have the elder of the village, we have the African Mama representative. All of them come together as a water committee. So all the people still give money to that committee, and the committee decide to raise chicken. To use that money to buy chicken, to buy sheep, to buy animals. We'll live right next to the well because right now there's water, there's green vegetation and everything. So the animal herd continued to grow and grow and grow. And one day, something's going to break. You know what's going to happen? Committee gathered together. Let's sell these 3 goats. Let's sell this sheep. Let's sell this cow. And then to pay for it, the repairing. So that's something that we have done in the past. So they can actually be self-sustainable. So we can actually leave them behind and become friends. Anyway, I think my time is up, but eventually, this is what I want to say. I know a lot of times I get invited to talk about heartwarming, human saving, kids, charity, love, all that kind of stuff, but eventually, if you want them to be sustainable, we have to talk about money. We have to talk about microfinance. We have to talk about giving them the resource and technique and ways to start small businesses. I think that eventually will be the ultimate goal to the ultimate development. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eugene. Thank you for the animated storytelling and inspirations. And through Step 30 International Ministries truly connected Taiwan with the international community through your individual efforts. I'm sure everyone here is inspired by these stories and curious about how youth power can make an impact on the global stage.
Next, we have several mini sessions. Let's invite Ms. Soma Aguero, Minister of Youth from Paraguay, to the stage to share her insights. Please join me in giving her a warm round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow youth advocates, I am deeply honored to address you today as the Minister of Youth of Paraguay. My name is Salma Agüero, and I am 25 years old. Today, I want to share you the challenges that young people face in my country, which are new. Limited access to quality education, unemployment, both in urban areas and rural areas, and an inefficient public transportation system, among others. These challenges are less difficult to face when we address with the support of international cooperation. With Taiwan, we are sister nations with over 60 years of mutual exchange. Taiwan's scholarships and projects strengthen us as a nation, and we are grateful for that. Before jumping to the actions that we as a government are taking while addressing those issues, allow me to tell you 3 things about Paraguay that you probably didn't know. Currently, more than a half of our population is under 30 years old, and the age group of 15 and 29 years old represents 27% of the total population. We are about 6 million people, making our youth a powerful force for change and innovation. Secondly, we are a landlocked country located in the heart of South America, almost entirely flat. In this scenario, we produce and export food for almost 100 million people around the world. Lastly, we are among the kindest people on earth, embracing life with a kind spirit, with strong values and family ties, with faith in God and loyal to our traditions. As we gather here today, it is essential to recognize both the challenges we face and the opportunities that lie ahead and use them as a source of inspiration and collaboration. Our government has prioritized actions aimed at empowering youth, launching initiatives that foster innovation in rural areas, investing in scholarship programs that prevent students from dropping out of university, and promoting skills development that meets the demand of a rapidly changing labor market. As Youth Ministry, we acknowledge the importance of effectively communicating that what we do and our plans to help our new generations. We also recognize that our young population has a particular language in which they interact. And to connect and engage with them, we must speak fluently, whether it's on social media or face-to-face. Furthermore, we understand that the importance of international cooperation by engaging with global partners and sharing best practices, we can elevate our collective impact. Paraguay is keen to contribute to and learn from this global partnership, ensuring that our youth have access to resources, mentorships, and opportunities that transcend borders. In conclusion, as we look towards the future, let us recognize the potential of our youth as a catalyst for positive change. Together, we can foster an environment where they thrive, contribute, and lead. The time to act is now. Let us connect, let us engage, and commit to a shared vision that empowers the youth of our nation. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Minister Aguero. Now let us invite Mr. Kenshin Obara, representing UNISC Kansai, United Nations International Student Conference, Kansai Branch, Japan, to share his insights with us. Let's welcome him.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I'm Kenshin Obara, a delegation of Japan. Today, I will talk about international exchange to eliminate prejudice. This is a quite sudden question, but how do you think about discrimination or the prejudice? In my opinion, without discrimination, prejudice, we can get interaction more easily. Let me give you an example. 13 years ago, a terrible earthquake happened in Fukushima, Japan. After the earthquake, thanks to Taiwan and many other countries, many people could get support and many people can evacuate. However, radiation remained in Fukushima. The nuclear power plant exploded. Many people were forced to evacuate. Because of this, many people think Fukushima is a dangerous place. But those who have actually visited Fukushima have this to say, oh, there are low dose radioactivity, and we can enter almost all area without protective clothing. There are also rich nature and good food. By visiting the area actually, watching them with your own eyes and interacting with the people, you will be able to confirm with your 5 senses what the situation is like on Fukushima and whether the food is safe. This is why I think international exchange is very important to eliminate prejudice. In this case, I have chosen the topic of Fukushima as an example, but any field is acceptable. These pictures are another exchanges on the Philippines and India. I'd like to see youth interacting with each other all over the world and achieve a world without discrimination. Let's create global partnerships together. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing. Next, let's invite our colleagues, the lecturer from Gajah Mada University in Indonesia, to come onto the stage to share with us.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. we are honored to be here today, and I am actually inviting my students to be standing in front of you to share with you about gap year in Indonesia. We are representing Indonesia, and we are from one of the university in Indonesia, Universitas Gadjah Mada. My name is Nur Enda, and I'm inviting my students Alia, Dea, and also Hanin. So we'll be talking about the gap year, the reality, the challenges, and the futures of gap years in Indonesia. As you can see here that although the statistical data about gap year is limited, but there's a growing trend of popularity of students taking gap years in Indonesia, following the pattern observed in developed countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia. But you can see there, there's a statistics of Indonesian high schools, general high school and vocational high school graduate that are not in education, not in employment, and not in the training. It means that there are still higher numbers of students who probably take gap years or did not immediately continue their educations into higher education. However, these students taking gap year are still getting societal stigma. They are considered as lazy, not smart, and then they're wasting their times. And also, taking gap year is a sign of bad luck. And Alia will continue.
Okay, so however, can we see really it as bad luck? But when we have checked the reality, it's not really a bad luck or poor choices. It is because our university cannot really afford or cannot really equalize between the applicants and the quota. Just like here, as you can see at the right one, UGM, UI, and ITB are the top 3 universities in Indonesia. Even they cannot really equalize their quota with the applicants. And what would happen if the students cannot go to the public university or the state-owned university? They will go to the private one, which it costs higher tuition fee. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, families are still in the lower income brackets. And I have seen Cornelius H. Ball. He sees gap year as a path towards self-discovery, and I have done some research which impacts gappers taken, and they have learned cultural differences, increased maturity, and also improved self-confidence.
I will tell you about the positive impact of the gap year. The first one, you will know who you are better than ever. With 1 year of free time, you will know that you're patient better than before. The second one, more opportunities are open. More times means more opportunities. So when the youth do a gap year, they can search for more opportunities for their future, like doing overseas volunteering, applying for scholarship abroad, and other experience. And by doing those things that I mentioned before, they can get matured and have more unexpected experience. The last one, having 1 year of free time, gap year can offer the youth more time to prepare for national university tests or preparing for their work that they will apply later. This is why you need to trust the process of gap year.
All right, so the future of gap year in Indonesia in the next 10 until 15 years will be start with a mental revolution or a culture revolution that related to the stigma of a gap year, stigma that has been mentioned before. And in Indonesia also have such an organization that provide courses, volunteering, and many activities that support gappers to fulfill their experience, to their curriculum vitae, to prepare for college or for a job. So yeah, there are such a Revoyu, Indonesia Youth Foundation, and also Kita Bisa. And that's it from us. Thank you so much for your attention. 谢谢.
Thank you so much for sharing your findings and encouragements. And now let us invite Mr. Romus Elstrom, chairperson of the Swedish Standard Party Youth, to share his insights.
Thank you. It's truly an honor to be standing here in front of all of you in beautiful Taiwan, on the other side of the planet from Sweden. So again, a big thank you. I want to start by saying that my name is Rasmus Elfström, not Ramos, but it's okay because it's basically only the Swedish and the Danes who know how to pronounce it. So we're in the minority of the world and you're in the majority, so I'm quite used to it, so it's okay. But anyways, I'm here to talk to you a bit about youth politics and youth engagement in Sweden. And we have quite a strong culture and quite a strong history of youth engagement in Sweden. We engage a lot in civic society, think like scouts and like other organizations, doing things in your local community. But as we have heard today earlier, we see the same trends we see internationally in Sweden with engagement in civic society, in organizations dropping in recent decades, unfortunately. And I think it's up to both society and government to enable and encourage engagement and participation in forming the future of basically our countries and our continents. And speaking of continents, when talking about international exchange, a natural thing to talk about for me as a Swede is the European Union, because it's basically the fundament within which we work as a country and engage with the world. And I really think that many other countries and many other regions could look to the EU to find inspiration in how international cooperation can be done. We have quite extensive exchange programs for students, for example. I have friends here from the Young Liberale in Germany. So they're basically another liberal youth organization in the EU, and we cooperate in LIMEC and IFLRI, which are European liberal organizations. So we have that quite coded into our DNA. When we work politically in Sweden, we also work politically in the European Union and on the European continent, and therefore in the world. So if you want inspiration in how international cooperation for youth, for example, can be done, look to the EU. But I also think that the European Union has to look outwards. As I said, it's an honor to be here in Taiwan to speak with all of you. And I think the EU has to broaden its horizons and look outwards to be able to encapsulate more perspectives and encourage and enable more international cooperation. So again, a big thank you, and hope we have a great conference. Thanks.
Thank you. And next, we also have a representative from Germany who would like to share their perspectives. So please welcome Ms. Joanna Christina Tabatu, chairperson of the Berlin State Chapter of the Young Liberals of the Free Democratic Party, to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the very warm welcome and the introduction. I'm going to also be talking about our engagement in international organizations. So Germany as such has a very diverse society, and actually the activism in Germany has grown rapidly in the last few years, be it social, be it environmental or political. But actually it's quite too many aspects to just portray them adequately in about 2 to 4 minutes, which is why I'm picking up where my colleague Rasmus left off. We are working together internationally as liberals in 2 organizations, which is IFLRI, which is worldwide, and on EU level with LIMEC. I think it's really vital and important that we are all working together internationally to tackle the worldwide threats that have been rising in the last few years. And even though in those 2 organizations we're all liberals, we still have very tough differences of opinion, which is why international cooperation and conferences like this one are so vital and important to be able to tackle the present and future issues in order to be able to shape the future that we want. For us young liberals, to be able to do that means fighting for freedom and democracy. That is one important issue that is for us, is for women in Iran, for example, to be able to be themselves without fear of death, for Israel's right to exist and live in security and peace, and for the hostages to be brought home now, for Ukraine to be free of tyrant Putin and his senseless war on an independent democracy, and I think most importantly, especially today, for Taiwan to be recognized not only socially, but also politically for what it is, a free, blooming, and independent democracy that has every right to live without threats to its security and independence. Let's work together for a brighter and freer future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, we have Ms. Lavon Vedant-Dizzy, Director of Youth Development and Sports from St. Lucia. Please join me in welcoming her to share her insights on the stage.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I am Lavon Vedant-Dizzy, and I am from the Caribbean island of St. Lucia. Today, St. Lucia's delegation comprises 8 individuals. We have 4 individuals from our Youth Economy Agency and a 4-person delegation from the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports. I am here in the capacity of Director of Youth Development with the Ministry of Youth Development and Sports, which was just said, and I am joined with 3 other team members from my unit. Our team coordinates the National Youth Development Agenda in St. Lucia, and it's basically our responsibility to support young people to develop the connections, the confidence, and the competencies they need to thrive in different areas of their lives. St. Lucia is 238 square miles. We are the only sovereign state to be named after a woman. We have the world's only drive-in volcano, and we proudly birthed 2 Nobel laureates, Sir Arthur Lewis in economics and Sir Derek Walcott in literature. Our population is approximately 180 persons, and it includes one of the fastest women in the world, Julian Alfred, who just won, and we're very proud of her, during the 2024 Olympics, a gold and silver medal, and during the 2024 Diamond League, a gold medal. We are extremely excited to be a part of this international forum. We are keen on connecting with other youth-serving agencies to develop global partnerships, share best practices, and learn from the lessons that you've learned, especially in the 3 areas that this forum is focused. That said, official overseas volunteering and gap year programs do not currently exist in St. Lucia. There are some young people who would have benefited from some of those programs, but they are largely undocumented, and they would have done so through independent international opportunities. Thus, I cannot report on this today. Concerning participation in international organizations, we do not have a standardized and formalized program for such opportunities in St. Lucia. We do not have an established program which allows St. Lucian youth to leave the state to participate in international organizations abroad. We do, however, have a population of steady, dedicated local volunteers who serve on local satellite chapters of international humanitarian organizations like Red Cross, Rotary, Kiwanis, and Lions Club. So through these organizations, some young people may get opportunities, but we don't have an official program. These international service organizations have various chapters around the island, and they continue to do critical work in human and social development. We are now in St. Lucia finalizing our 2025-2030 National Youth Policy. It will be the guiding document for a lot of the programming that we do nationally. We are very excited because we hope to expand our national program in some of the areas that we are discussing here today. And so we hope to connect with other delegations. We hope to connect with other resource personnel. We're excited because we're now identifying all the international networks in the room, so we'll be coming to you. And we hope that we will be able to implement some of these programs well-informed because of your experiences and willingness to share with us. So thank you once more for this timely opportunity to share, to network, to participate, and to learn. Sheshe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
I think we all have a shared feeling that it has been a truly fulfilling morning, and all of the presentations were incredibly insightful. So thank you.
Indeed, exactly. And we've also gathered so many news perspectives and ideas this morning. And it's exactly why I love hosting the Global Youth Trends Forum every year. It's a unique opportunity to hear diverse viewpoints and approaches from different countries and cultural backgrounds. It's been so rewarding.
And also, we'll have a panel discussion soon. We'll invite 3 panelists on the stage, and also we'll take questions from the floor. So, youth representatives, please, if you have any questions that you would love to openly discuss here, that's your chance and your opportunities to engage to our panelists during our panel discussion session.
Yes, I'm sure everybody would probably have a lot of thoughts and ideas or maybe questions in mind you would like to discuss about the previous presentations. So now is the time. And let us once again invite our panelists to the stage.
Yes.
Yeah, we have first of all Mr. Koen Wilms, President of SIW International Volunteer Organization. And
please come to the stage.
Mr. Stephen Lee from ICDF, Deputy Secretary General, and Mr. Eugene Yang, founder of Step 30 International Ministries.
All right, let's come onto the stage. Thank you so much. So we will be taking questions from all of you, if you have any, based upon the experience or the stories or the sharing that you've heard during this morning. So if you would love to raise your hands and talk about your feedbacks, that's more than welcome.
Yes. And now we would like to open the floor for questions. So if you have any thoughts to share or questions in mind, please raise your hand and we will pass the microphone to you.
And when you do so, please let us know a little bit about you, sharing your background info. All right?
Yes.
Okay, we have a gentleman here.
Yes.
Hello, good morning. Magandang umaga. I am Johnson Teo Tamayo, representing the Philippines and World Youth Alliance Asia Pacific. So my question is for Mr. Eugene Yang. As an economics teacher, I laud how you efficiently depicted poverty porn. So in your own view and as an advice for us on who are keen on joining or supporting organizations, what are some of the key indicators or red flags we should observe to help us differentiate between organizations that are truly committed to sustainable community-driven development versus those that are exploiting poverty porn?
Right, so some green flags and red flags.
Indicators. Oh, that's a very important question.
All right, thank you, Johnson, for your question. This is what I would do. I think the reality is this. If I were to stand, now I know you, this crowd, I'm assuming we're all very educated. We study international matters and things like that. So it's easier for me to talk about some of the sustainability, all these kind of SDGs, big words. But what is the other side of the reality? The reality is when you talk to the general public, you do have to tell stories and compelling stories, you know, heartwarming, those kind of stuff. So you want to have that balance, right? So I think it's important to tell stories. That's what intrigues people to help and be participating international events. So, but for you, if you were to dig in deeper, I would say a couple of things to look at. Number one, when you look past the story, you look at their financial status. Where do they spend their money? How do they spend their money proportionally? And then also their action plan. On the ground, what kind of plan do they have in terms of sustainability, in terms of how to hand over to the locals, in terms of how they raise up the local leaders? or organizations. And I think these are some of the key things to look at. And then, of course, if you could look into a little bit deeper, which meaning you will participate in those organizations' events and talking to the people because of social media, because of the platform that we have nowadays, it's actually very easy, accessible to talk to their staff about some of those questions. So these are sort of a few things that I would say first to look at.
Can you have something to?
Yeah, maybe to add to that, there is also a concern, particularly around volunteering projects, around projects that involve orphanages. In particular, in our own organizations, we don't dispatch any volunteers to organizations that have orphanages. As we found in reality that many of these orphanages actually are not really orphanages. As you nicely mentioned, Eugene, they just gather youngsters together for a picture, for donors. And actually, when we send volunteers to these type of organizations, we find out that the babies are just actually not orphanages, they just go back to normal parents. So any orphanage project is a red flag for our organization, maybe just to share. Yeah.
I hope that answered your questions. Thank you. Okay, we have a lady over here. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everybody. So I'm Christina, and I'm from Haiti. I am currently a senior student on business administration at National Chinese University in Taipei. So first, I would like to thank all of you for your amazing presentations. This subject has been one of my really focus points since the past maybe 10 years, because I've been doing volunteering since I was 15, since like I just entered high school at that time. So it's something that I'm really interested in, and I got a lot of insights from all of your presentations. However, one thing, I mean, it has been a lot of like interesting stories about what you have done, which are like amazing. But we do know that a lot of challenges exist. So I would like to know what of either from ICDF or from your organization or from your work in Africa, which are all amazing. So my question is, like, I would like to know what are some of the key challenges if we want to maybe involve more on these things. So what should we put our minds to that we may face that will probably prevent us from actually reaching our goals. So yeah, so challenges, key challenges. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
So maybe some of the challenges you see from your experience. So thank you, Christina. It just brings me to echo one of the sessions that we just heard from Indonesia, because in Indonesia there's this stigma that might be stopping people from joining international work or international volunteer. Right. So from maybe ICDF or SIW, do you see these kind of challenges or concerns from the society or from the parents?
It may be a very subtle one.
Yeah, it could be subtle.
Maybe how to overcome that challenges.
Yeah, thanks for your question and the comments. Yeah, that's really a problem. According to ICDF's experience, and since we have launched this program for many years, and according to our experience and to our observations, I think in Taiwan, take Taiwan's young people, for example, maybe the first one, you got to persuade not only the volunteer themselves, but also their parents. So in the initial stage, when we launch the volunteer programs, we are usually to open some kind of open section, and we invite the volunteer candidates who have been applied our programs with their friends, or their girlfriends, boyfriends, and their parents. If they are interested in this program, then we want to make sure all the information from ICDF are well informed, not only for the volunteer, but also for their friends and families. So that means that we invited their families, members, and the friends to enjoy the program, to give the support for the volunteer himself or herself. In the initial stage, I mean, more than 15 years ago, when we just tried to promote these programs, we faced a lot of challenges, the so-called mindset challenge. Because in ICDF, maybe our program is totally different from the other programs. the organization in charge of another different kind of volunteer programs, because we support all the expense, the cost. We assume all the costs for volunteer, including the round trip air tickets, insurance, per team, as well as the training cost. So in ICDF, we have our mandate. So the program, the volunteer program, should be connected to our foreign policy or diplomatic concerns. So as you may know, we dispatch most of our volunteers to our allied countries or friendly developing countries. So maybe some volunteers, the candidates or applicants, they will assume and they got to 100% rely on ICDF itself. So they maybe have some different thinking. Be an ICDF volunteer is very different. So the organization, including ICDF, including our embassy in the specific countries, including our technical mission in the specific country, should support a volunteer. So to be a volunteer, we need a lot of volunteers to serve him or her. So it's some kind of mindset challenge.
Yes.
So education for volunteers is important. I would like to show you a story because we observed different volunteers from different countries. As I know, there is a volunteer from France. And the guy, when he visited some country in Africa, so first he visited the French embassy in the country, or we just call the country A. And when he meet the staff of the embassy of the France in the country A, and after the orientation and then make some registration procedure, then the volunteer asks the staff, if I have a problem, how can I contact the embassy? Then the staff of the embassy say, if this country, they have some civil war or some natural disaster, we try to find you. That's it. So that means, as a volunteer, you got to be totally 100% independent. So you got to serve yourself, then you can have the ability to serve other people. That's my experience from ICDF.
Yeah, embassies are not convenience stores.
Yes. You cannot use them maybe just out of curiosity, I think that is a normal or standard scenario. But the worst scenario, if there is a victim, even when there's a victim to international volunteering organization, which be proven to be a fraud, do I report to the local government, or do I report that to my own government to sort of gain something back?
Or maybe is there a certification or verification system that can prevent the existence of these organizations or frauds?
A blacklist.
Yeah, so maybe from SIW.
Do we have that?
This kind of verification?
So that's why I made a call at the end of my speech that normally if you go to an international volunteering project, you go to an organization in your own country that is recognized, and actually they will help you to find an organization in another country. And that means that if you come to a hosting organization and you are not happy, you will complain back to your sending organization, as we call that. And then actually many of these organizations are member of international networks. I mentioned some of them, NVDA here in Asia, the Alliance of Voluntary Service Organizations in Europe. We meet once a year. We have a General Assembly. In fact, we as SIW hosted it last year at the event of our 70th anniversary. And then complaints are being actually considered. And there is voting at the General Assembly. And if there are so many complaints around a certain organization, they will be voted out of the organization and out of the network. So if you come into a situation where you find yourself uncomfortable, please report back to your sending organization, which you can also do then in your own language, which is also nice, as these are typically awkward situations where you may not be fluent or have the courage to stand up and say that in that particular environment. It's much easier to do that with in your own language with the people that you started with, and they can then take further action. So that's how we normally proceed around these type of issues.
Sending organizations. Yes. Do we have more questions?
I see 3 hands. So I think we do have time. So maybe this gentleman first, and then the second, and the third. All right, so let's start with this gentleman.
So good
We have
morning.
15 minutes.
So good morning, mom and sir.
Hi.
Because this is my question. Like,
Sir, can you tell us where you're from and your name?
So I'm John Leightonland from the Philippines.
Hi.
And this is my question because some of us, especially youth, we have no platform to hear our voices because some adults are just, oh, you are still inexperienced. Maybe they often disregard our ideas. And I just want to ask, what strategies can be put in place to ensure that youth voices are heard and respected in decision-making process in the local and global platform? So thank you, sir. Let me repeat. Okay.
Would you like to direct your question to any specific
okay, so
speaker?
Maybe everyone's okay to answer my question.
Well, yes, Kun is happy to
Thank
take
you.
the question.
Yeah, so I think so it's a great question. Thank you. And there are different ways. You have heard here an example of the Youth Alliance that you can team up with. You can team up with local international voluntary service organizations. You heard some political representatives coming here from Germany and Sweden. And so these are great examples how you can join a political stage and through that actually join these international forums. So those are just 3 examples that may help you wherever you are, if you're in the Philippines or in St. Lucia. In all these places, you have possibilities to join networks. And maybe you could become a youth minister, as we have here from Paraguay. So, you can do this in a voluntary space. You can do this in a political space. These are all options that lead to more influence from youngsters, in my mind.
Yeah, this is a perfect platform. Yes. Yes.
I can also add to that, because I myself are not part of the circle, in a sense that I was actually a school dropped out. I didn't finish high school. So I was not in any form of so-called forum, platform, diplomacy, all that kind of stuff. And how did I start it? I feel like these are all very good ways to get in contact with the people that are already in the network. And however, there's also another thing. How I started was internet, social media. There's a lot of platform nowadays that your voice can be heard. And you do have to, of course, number one, we said tell a compelling story, understanding what you're talking about, being logical, and then being able to tell that story. There's tons of platforms now your voice can be heard and connect a bunch of people that are starting to a movement, basically. So that's how I started from, Facebook and things like that. And then I gathered hundreds of volunteers, and then thousands of people started donating shoes, and then it started snowballing from there. So I feel like that's another platform that's unique to this generation.
Indeed. Thank you, Eugene.
So maybe we have the final 2 questions. That is open
we still have
floor.
2 previous,
Yes.
So the gentleman in the center. Would you please pass the microphone to... Yes, please keep your hand held up high. Yes.
Hello, speaker. So my name is Mike, and it's an honor to be here. I'm from Vietnam. So my question is, I heard you mention that like when we do the volunteer program abroad, like we need to sort of blend in the community to actually resonate with the local to create the results, right? So how do you build up the cultural sensitivity, and what is the most challenging thing of building this sense? Thank you so much.
Ooh.
Cultural sensitivity. Maybe Eugene, because Eugene mentioned
Come from
this
so many different angles.
Yes.
Yes.
It's true. If I were to, can I be real?
Of course.
We're live streaming.
That's the only thing that you have to be.
Let's be real for a second here. We have hosted hundreds of volunteers, right? And a lot of time it is hard. It is hard for our local staff and people. What we have seen, what really happened, what really goes on the ground is that if you go to a local nonprofit, the locals, if we're talking about Africa specifically, they're very honoring their guests. So they would never tell you if you're doing a good job or bad job. They would always say, oh, we appreciate you coming here.
Really?
Yeah, so it's actually, yeah,
so they will know. They won't know.
Well, same thing in Taiwan. If a Taiwan ayi, auntie, they're not going to say, this food is trash. They always say, thank you, thank you. This is culturally. So it's actually very hard to know that. And then, as a Taiwanese, local, we have hosted a lot of international volunteers. It's actually, like what they were saying, it takes a lot of effort to host international volunteers. So I would say number one thing when it comes to social sensitivity is this. Remember this. Always assume you know nothing. So don't, in a sense, don't go there thinking I am the savior that's coming to save this poor country. You always assume there's a method, a way of doing things that you don't know. Even though it looks slower, even though it looks more unproductive, but there is a method, there is a reasoning behind it, or there's a cultural reason. For example, let me give you an example. I have a friend who was, I think it was in South Sudan or somewhere. Anyway, there's an American friend of mine, she went there. She was thinking about teaching them about some cultural, moral value things and digging wells, orphanages, things like that. And then one of the things that she was trying to teach them is, monogamy. You should only have one husband, one wife. Okay? So as she was teaching this, she got a lot of pushback. And guess who pushed back the hardest? Wives. Why? She's like, don't you want your husband just to love you only? And this is what the local said to my friend. You stupid white women. Oh, sorry. I'm being very real. I'm quote. You don't know what you're talking about. Because my husband married me, I have to do all the housework. I have to fetch water. I have to do all the house chore, everything. When he marries a second wife, the load is, onto her. And then when he marries a third wife, now we share those housework, all the heavy manual labor. So I'm not saying what's right, what's wrong. What I'm saying is you cannot go in there thinking you know what the right answer is, what the wrong answer is. You have to assume there's a cultural reason behind it. There's something that you don't understand. So have that kind of posture, humility, go into it, learn the culture, understand why things are this way. A really good book I would recommend, Culture Map. Culture Map.
Oh,
Culture Map.
Yeah.
Is that an app or a website?
A book.
Or a
book. Yeah, Culture Map. It tells high context, low context, why, everything behind it. So that would be a good point to start. Thank you.
Out of curiosity, have you ever bumped into political differences that come into nuances ways and to come into or become obstacles?
Yeah, there's always political things. That's why I have to say you have to tread your step very, carefully, because there's political reason, there's cultural reason, there's language reason, there's a lot of different things. So don't assume your culture is right or wrong. Like, for example, in the villages of Africa, people are, for example, if I say 10 o'clock, our meeting will start. In Taiwan, that means 10 o'clock it will start. But in Africa, they will meet, 10:50, 10:30, 10:25. It's all considered okay. So the time is kind of fluctuates around that time. So that's why my African friends, they will say, meet here 10 o'clock. And I will say, you mean African 10 o'clock or Taiwan 10 o'clock? Now, there's a cultural reason behind it, because as we, as a country, they get into industrialization earlier. When your work gets stuck, the next person's work will not be able to continue. So historically, we are industrialized nation, so I have to be on time. So the next person can be on time, right? So that's our mindset when it comes to time. But then in a farming culture in the desert, everything is relative. I'm herding the sheep. It doesn't really matter as long as I showed up around that time. And I understand there's lack of infrastructure, there's lack of roads and things like that. So we understand each other. When we say 10 o'clock, it means around 10 to 10:30-ish. So there's, once again, no right or wrong answer. There's different cultural history and there's a cultural understanding. So don't assume you know the right answer. That would be a very good place to start.
I love that. That's a great lesson. So it's nice to have a framework, but also start from zero, maybe. And we're here to serve and also learn, right? Not just here to give. And Koen?
Yeah, maybe just to add, I think the principle of equality is really, truly important. And that's a bit what you're hinting to as well. So don't think you are the superior, you have a superior view. If you're not careful, you come back into neocolonialism again. And so that's where, you know, from a cultural perspective, you need to be careful. You need to make sure you have an equal relationship and you respect the others as much as you expect them to respect yourself.
Thank you for the reminder and insights. And moving on to the next gentleman that was raising his hand in the back. Yes? Oh, okay, there's the gentleman. Right. Please pass the microphone to him.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Sylvester Lahai. I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa. I'm a student of the National Chongqing University in Taichung. I got a scholarship from Food for the Hungry International. So my question here is about ICDF. Is there any opportunity for ICDF to cooperate with any local organizations in my country for promoting education?
In promoting education that you're saying? Okay.
Thank you for your question and comments. Yeah. According to our policy, because Town ICDF scholarship program is 100%, follow the policy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Republic of China. And as I know, right now your esteemed country is not on the list of the Town ICDF scholarship programs, the list of the country name. But we stay open. So if you have any question or you have any suggestion, you may raise your opinion to our representative office or embassy around your country. I mean, a neighboring country next to your country. Maybe they can give you some policy comments. But we do hope we can expand our scholarship program to more countries. So maybe we can see you in the future.
Oh, thank you. That's a start. Do we have time for one more last question?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, okay, but so many people raise their hands.
The lady in the back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking my question. My name is Naledi Maime. I'm from South Africa, and I represent the Model United Nations for African Youth Development. And my question is for Mr. Yang. He was in Kenya, and I just wanted to ask you, particularly with African governments, which are very conservative and rigid with their interaction towards youth. I think the most untapped resource in Africa is their youth, and majority of the population is their youth, but their interaction with the youth is very limited. And even when we do have ideas, we do have platforms, it's a little bit difficult to be able to interact with them and get sort of our word or our ideas towards them and have a trickle-down effect towards the NGOs and the initiatives that we had. So my question to you is that we spoke to your wife yesterday. It was very engaging and inspiring, and she spoke about how you convinced the government to reduce taxes to be able to help your initiatives for Step 30. But thinking now about the emerging economies that are in Africa, and I don't think they'd be able to be in a position to be able to reduce taxes, for example. So what other strategies are there to be able to interact with governments that don't really have a lot of youth? For example, our youth minister in South Africa is 66 years old. And we don't have a lot of youth representation, even in the youth leagues of the different parties that we had. We've had the same party in South Africa since '94 when Nelson Mandela became the president of South Africa. So the African National Congress has been in power for a long time, so it means that certain structures have been there for a while. So my question is, what is the interaction, how does the international community encourage African governments to be able to interact with their youth more? Or what is it that the youth in Africa can do to be able to engage with their governments, to be able to look at our initiatives, look at the issues that we're facing as the youth, look at the issues that we're facing that could impact our futures?
Yes.
That is a really big question.
Yes.
Honestly, as an organization, there's so little that we can do in the sense that it's always really, really hard for NPO, especially a foreign NPO, to direct what the local government would do in terms of their policy and allocation of their resources. But there's a few things that we have done, is that we cooperate with a lot of the NPOs and government regional and government, like central government. So one of the things that we have done is, because by partnering with all those local governments, we were able to kind of co-work with them to direct their focuses into the youth locally. And then in terms of central government, because as our organization grow and grow and grow, some of our directors actually made it into the Parliament House, being for example, First Lady's board of consultants. And by being there, having a voice, we were able to give suggestions of, you should involve with more youth. We can organize some of the local events where you can come over, give some of your resources and things like that. But of course, when it comes to really, really good, the core of it, I think the government, the people, it's a very, very complicated situation. But as far as my organization goes, these are some of the approaches that we have done. Co-working with regional, central government in terms of activities. And by bringing in youth on our end, we connected them so they have a bridge in the future. And also to send our directors to kind of be consultants in government places and regionally too. So these are some of the things that we have done as an organization. Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that insights, and that's encouraging with the youth power.
Yes. Due to this time constraint, thank you so much for your questions, and thank you, our three panelists. Thank you for sharing some insights.
Yes, thank you so much. And now it's time for our lunch break. Yes. So we have the lunch boxes ready, available outside the venue, and we have tea and coffee set up in the back. And feel free to take a look at the Tianlan Hall just across from this hall. And there are wonderful exhibitions, and we have afternoon session coming ahead. All right, so yes. Enjoy the lunch break. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
See you next year.